Hi, good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and in the next 30 minutes I'll be taking you through the day's biggest news stories from India and across the world, starting with the headlines. Centre briefs opposition on the China standoff and Kashmir situation, says the Sikkim issue will be resolved diplomatically. Opposition says national security paramount. Guwahati High Court stays the Nagaland Governor's directive to Chief Minister to seek a flow test by 15th of July. Hearing on petition by Chief Minister Lizit Su on Monday. RJD-JDU rift widens. Nitish Kumar's party asks Tejaswi Yadav to come clean over graft allegations. Lalu says son won't quit, assures Grand Alliance intact. No let-up in the flood situation in the northeast. Death toll in 3 states of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur touches 83. And Venus Williams and Garbiñe Muguruza to clash for the women's title at Wimbledon today. Roger Federer sets up the title clash with Marin Cilic on Sunday. First up, the political situation in Nagaland, and the Guwahati High Court has stayed till Monday the Nagaland Governor's directive to the State Chief Minister Shirozeli Lizit Su to seek a trust vote in the Assembly on or before 15th of July. Now, the High Court stayed Governor P.B. Acharya's order on a plea by Chief Minister Lizit Su. The petition argued that the Governor's directive was ex officio unconstitutional, illegal, arbitrary and violative of the basic features of the Constitution. It said that the process of by-elections in which the Chief Minister is seeking to be elected is already under process and that the trust vote should be sought after the polls. It also said that the Governor virtually sought to strangulate the will of the Council of Ministers and have used the office of the Governor to suit his political aims. Meanwhile, the Council of Ministers led by Chief Minister Lizit Su called on Governor P.B. Acharya, who reportedly told the Chief Minister to bring about reconciliation among the legislators. The Democratic Alliance of Nagaland Coordination Committee said that the coalition and that the crisis was only within the NPF party. On to some other news now. The Election Commission has announced election dates for the 10 Rajya Sabha seats in Gujarat, West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh. Now, the elections will include a biennial poll for 9 seats and a by-poll for former Union Minister Anil Dave's seat from Madhya Pradesh on 8th of August. Now, Dave, whose term in the upper house was to end in 2022, passed away on 18th of May. The last date for the filing of nominations is the 28th of July, which will be scrutinized the next day, and the votes will be counted on 8th of August. The elections will affect several prominent members, including of the upper house, including Union Minister Smriti Irani, CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury, and Trinamool Congress leader Derek O'Brien, whose terms are ending on 18th of August. Now, the election to the 9 seats from West Bengal and Gujarat were originally announced for 8th of June, but on 22nd of May, the Election Commission postponed the poll, saying that it will clash with the 17th of July presidential election. Now, the Delhi High Court has rejected the petition of Madhya Pradesh Public Relations Minister Narottam Mishra. Effectively meaning that he will not be able to vote in the presidential election on 17th of July. The Election Commission had nullified Mishra's election in 2008 over a paid news case and disqualified him from contesting any election for 3 years. Mishra had challenged his disqualification in the Supreme Court, and on Wednesday the Supreme Court transferred his case from Madhya Pradesh to the Delhi High Court. The Delhi High Court has reserved its judgment on Thursday, and today it rejected his petition. The Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan has called an all-party meet ahead of the Monday's monsoon session. The meeting has been called on Sunday. Now, during the meeting, the Lok Sabha Speaker will seek a cooperation from the floor leaders of different parties in the Lok Sabha to ensure smooth transaction of business in the House. The monsoon session of Parliament will start from Monday and it will continue till the 11th of the next month. Meanwhile, India's presidential nominee Ram Nath Kovind and his rival Meera Kumar continue to seek support for their candidatures from across the country for the 17th of July polls. Now, opposition's nominee Meera Kumar will today visit Odisha. During her day-long visit, Kumar will meet legislators of the Congress party in Bhubaneswar. After their nomination last month, Kumar and Kovind have been visiting various states as part of their campaign for the top constitutional posts. Kovind, on the other hand, would visit Gujarat today. BJP President Amit Shah and Gujarat BJP in charge Bhupendra Yadav will accompany Kovind. Now, during the day-long visit, the former Bihar governor is expected to meet top BJP leaders and other NDA leaders as well. Now, Home Minister Rajnath Singh, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Defence Minister Arun Jaitley briefed the opposition leaders on the standoff with China and the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, several prominent leaders from 19 political parties attended this meet. The briefing was also attended by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar. Now, the importance of India and China to remain engaged through diplomacy was also underlined. After the meet, MEA spokesperson Gopal Bagle said that the leaders have affirmed their support to the government on the issue of a border standoff with China. The government, which is aiming to build a consensus on its approach to China, said that it wants to find a solution through peaceful talks. On the issue of Kashmir, the opposition said that the government too agreed that there were security lapses. Now, the issue with China and growing unrest in the Kashmir Valley are likely to be raised by the opposition parties in the parliament session as well that begins next week.
आम राय ये थी कि राष्ट्रीय हित के साथ में कोई समझौता नहीं हो सकता है और सबने कहा कि हम दलगत भावना से ऊपर उठ करके सरकार के साथ हैं। इसलिए इसमें जो है सब लोगों ने जो है सरकार का साथ देने का वादा किया।
अमरनाथ यात्री जो मिलिटेंटों के द्वारा मारे गए उसमें भी चर्चा था, उसमें भी हमने स्पष्ट बताया कि पूरा देश और पूरा जम्मू कश्मीर खड़ा हो गया था उन यात्रियों के साथ, उनके परिवार के साथ। तो एक उन्होंने अपॉर्चुनिटी दी है कि एक दरवाजा खोला है कि हम अपनी सहानुभूति दे रहे हैं देश के साथ और हम मिलिटेंटों के खिलाफ है। अब केंद्रीय सरकार को भी कोई खिड़की खोलनी चाहिए।
उन्होंने कहा बातचीत के आधार पर मामला को सुलझाएंगे, ये सरकार का कहना है। अमरनाथ यात्रा पे उन्होंने कहा कि जो भी है मतलब वो कारण, वो गलतियां, जो लैप्सेस जो हुई उसके बारे में स्पष्टीकरण दिया।
And more on the Amarnath Yatra attack, and the Jammu and Kashmir government has now constituted a special investigation team to investigate the terror attack on the Amarnath pilgrims in Anantnag district on 10th of July. Now, the 6-member team is being headed by DIG South Kashmir SP Pani. 7 Amarnath pilgrims were killed and 21 others were injured in a terrorist attack on their bus which was on its way from Baltal to Jammu. Now, the attack drew widespread condemnation from all shades of opinion in the valley, including the separatist groups. Now, police blamed the Lashkar-e-Toiba for the deadly attack, but has not confirmed it. However, the outfit has denied any involvement. Big story coming in from Bihar, and the JDU has asked the RJD to come clean on the allegations against its party minister Tejasvi Yadav with facts and not to display arrogance of having 80 MLAs. Now, Yadav, the son of RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad, is the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar and has been named by the CBI as an accused in its probe into land for hotels scandal. Lalu Prasad Yadav, on the other hand, has said that there is no threat to the Grand Alliance in the state.
The political crisis in Bihar continues to deepen over the CBI probe against the son and daughter of RJD Chief Lalu Prasad. While the RJD has categorically ruled out the resignation of Tejasvi Yadav over corruption charges, it has also denied any threat to the Grand Alliance.
कि गठबंधन हमारा टूट है और राष्ट्रीय जनता दल के तरफ से राष्ट्रीय जनता दल कोई ऐसा स्पेस नहीं देगा भारतीय जनता पार्टी को आरएसएस को यहाँ पैर रखने के लिए। ये सारा खेल जो हो रहा है ईडी का, सीबीआई का, या जो भी हो रहा है दिल्ली के सरकार के द्वारा यहाँ के गठबंधन के सरकार को खंड खंड करने के लिए, तोड़ने के लिए।
But alliance partner JDU is likely to take a call on the matter after its national executive meeting in Delhi this month.
नीतीश कुमार जी का नाम चेहरे पर 80 विधायक आज विधानसभा में प्रवेश किए हैं। और जहां तक चुप्पी का सवाल है तो नीतीश कुमार जी ने पार्टी फोरम में अपनी बातों को रख दिया कि तथ्य के साथ सामने, तथ्य के साथ उनको अपने आना चाहिए आगे। और नीतीश कुमार जी जब चुप्पी तोड़ते हैं तो समझ लीजिए कहीं न कहीं गाज गिरेगा ही निश्चित तौर पर।
हमारा गठबंधन सफलतापूर्वक चल रहा है, बिहार के विकास कार्यों में संलग्न है। भ्रष्टाचार को लेकर के और नैतिक मूल्यों की रखवाली को लेकर के जरूर मुख्यमंत्री जी ने वक्तव्य दिया है, जो जनता दल यू समेत महागठबंधन के सभी विधायकों, सांसदों और मंत्रियों पर लागू होता है।
Matters peaked earlier this week with the RJD chief meeting his MLAs and blaming the BJP for carrying out a campaign of vendetta against his family. Facing a belligerent RJD, the JDU is reaching out to the Congress to convince the RJD to soften its stand.
श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी परिवार की मुखिया हैं और वो गठबंधन के मित्रों से अक्सर बात करती हैं। किसी भी वार्तालाप की हम राजनीतिक चर्चा टेलीविजन के माध्यम से कभी नहीं करते। कांग्रेस अध्यक्षा भिन्न भिन्न मित्र राजनीतिक दलों से समय समय पर बात करती हैं, उसको लेकर राजनीतिक कयास लगाया जाना सरासर गलत है।
The BJP is also mulling its options. It has stepped up the pressure on the JDU to drop Tejasvi from the cabinet.
मेरी अपेक्षा होगी नीतीश कुमार अगर सुचिता और ईमानदारी से अपनी राजनीति चलाने का दावा करते हैं तो आज उनके उप मुख्यमंत्री के खिलाफ गंभीर आरोप है, संगीन आरोप है। इन बातों का उत्तर देना जरूरी है कि क्या किसी को होटल दिया गया और बड़ी जमीन पुरस्कार में ली गई नियमों की अवहेलना करके, तो बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है।
At the heart of the political developments are multiple cases of corruption, not only against Lalu Prasad but also his family members, including Tejasvi Yadav, daughter Misa Bharti and her husband. Earlier this week, the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate conducted searches at the residence of Lalu Prasad's family over corruption in giving tenders of 2 hotels to a private company when he was railway minister. The CBI has named Lalu Prasad's wife Rabri Devi and Tejasvi among the accused. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
If you see at the time of independence, nearly 16 million ton, 16.5 million ton production was there. But nowadays production has reached to 175 at per estimate, nearly 10 times you can see. Earlier we are talking about the livelihood, but now we are talking about the nutrition security. Certainly vegetable is one. We have developed the 64 varieties in hybrid and all these things, nearly 22 vegetable crops. This is at farmer's field. But nowadays again 20 more varieties in the pipeline.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Bijendra Singh, Director ICAR Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, Varanasi, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the flood situation remains grim in the northeast of the country. The death toll rose to 83 across Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh. The Union Minister Kiren Rijiju, along with Arunachal Pradesh's Chief Minister Pema Khandu, took stock of the prevailing situation. Here are all the details. The flood situation remains grim in the northeastern states. The death toll has risen to 83 across 58 districts in Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh. In Assam, rains have affected more than 17 lakh people in 26 of the 35 districts. The Brahmaputra and its tributaries submerged 2,500 villages and destroyed 1.06 lakh hectares of cropland. Around 52 people have lost their lives so far. At the Kaziranga National Park, 62% of the area is underwater, leaving some animals dead and some moving to nearby highlands. While in Arunachal Pradesh, at least 14 people were killed after a landslide triggered by heavy rains hit Papumpare district. Union Minister Kiren Rijiju and Arunachal Pradesh's Chief Minister Pema Khandu visited flood and landslide affected areas. First, they undertook an aerial survey of the affected areas. The Union Minister also compensated the victims' families with 10 lakh rupees each. While the Chief Minister said that the restoration process will continue once the rain settles down.
रेनफॉल जब हेवी हो जाते हैं तो तरह से दुर्घटना ना हो तो हमारे जो डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट जो डिपार्टमेंट है वो अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स वगैरह तो गांव में करते हैं और हमारे जितने भी जो जिला है तो वो जिला प्रशासन भी सभी गांव और शहरों में उसका जो अवेयरनेस कैंपेन जो वो करते हैं.
NDRF teams are working with the district administrations round the clock to carry relief and rescue operations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And in a major security breach, a dangerous plastic explosive was found in the Uttar Pradesh Assembly yesterday. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath on Friday informed the House about the discovery, which unanimously recommended an NIA probe into it. The Chief Minister said that the white powder was found wrapped in a paper close to the seat of the leader of the opposition, Ram Govind Chaudhary. The explosive was found by the cleaning staff on 12th of July, weighing about 150 grams. Now, experts said that 500 grams of the explosives is enough to blow up the house. Now, Yogi Adityanath assured that no compromise will be made on the security of the assembly, which has 503 members. Later, the speaker announced security measures in the house, including installation of whole body scanners at all the gates, as well as driver verification of all the legislatures.
यह एक गंभीर प्रकरण है और जो चीजें आ रही हैं, मुझे लगता है कि इसके बारे में हम लोगों को सबको विचार करना होगा कि यह सीधे सीधे सेंध है इस विधान भवन की सुरक्षा पर लगाने का.
नहीं, देखिए ये चूक है और इसकी जांच होनी चाहिए. इतनी बड़ी चूक नहीं होनी चाहिए. बहुत सेंसिटिव मामला है और इसकी जांच हो भी रही है. माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी इसकी जांच करा रहे हैं.
विधानसभा के अंदर और नेता विपक्ष की कुर्सी के नीचे अगर विस्फोटक कोई चीज मिलती है तो आप इससे अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि उत्तर प्रदेश के लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का क्या हाल है.
On to the big international story now. US says that it is still not sure if Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was dead. And this despite reports from Syria saying so. Now, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis on Friday said that the US could not prove that Baghdadi had been killed. It is noteworthy that the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights early this week had said that it had confirmed information that al-Baghdadi had been killed. However, Western and Iraqi officials have been skeptical. The US has placed a $25 million bounty on Baghdadi's head. Last month, Russia had claimed that it had likely killed Baghdadi in an airstrike on a southern suburb of Raqqa.
Finally, there's been a lot of media interest in the whereabouts and status of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Despite all the helpful reports to us from every source imaginable, I'm unable to confirm or deny where he is or whether he is alive or dead. Let me just say for the record, my fervent hope is it is the latter.
Meanwhile, the Pentagon said that US forces have killed Abu Sayyed, the leader of Islamic State Khorasan, the terror group's Afghanistan affiliate. Now, Sayyed was reportedly killed in an airstrike on the group's headquarters in Kunar province on 11th of July. Now, Afghan and US forces launched a counter-Islamic State offensive in Afghanistan early March this year, with the US pledging to drive the terror group out of the country by the end of this year. Now, Turkey has dismissed more than 7,000 police, ministry staff as well as academics on the eve of the anniversary of the last year's attempted coup to bring down President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And the latest decree is a part of a crackdown triggered by the failed coup, which Turkey says was organized by US Islamic cleric Fethullah Gulen, a former ally of President Erdogan. Now, today, Turkey marks 1 year since the rogue soldiers bombed the buildings and opened fire on civilians. More than 250 people were killed in that violence. Now, in all, Turkey has sacked or suspended more than 150,000 officials and arrested some 50,000 people from military, police, judiciary, academia as well as other sectors. Meanwhile, Gulen, who remains in the United States, denies any involvement in the attempted coup. Washington too has so far resisted calls from the Turkish authorities to extradite the cleric.
İşte bu kadar kişi işlerinden edildi. Bundan sonra imkanları, ihtiyaçları nasıl karşılanacak? Gitsin özel sektörde çalışsın. Bize ne? Onu mu düşüneceğiz bir de? Gitsin özel sektörde çalışsın.
Fethullah Gülen, the leader of Fethullah Gülen terrorist organization, still lives in a compound in Salisbury, Pennsylvania. Think carefully about that for a moment. An organization run from Pennsylvania tried to overthrow the Turkish state on July 15, 2016, leading to the deaths of hundreds of Turks. Yet, the United States has done nothing to limit Gülen's activities, let alone taking concrete steps to meet Turkey's request to extradite or detain him in accordance with the agreement that we have signed in 1979.
Now to some sports news. First up, news from the world of cricket. In the ICC Women's World Cup, India will take on New Zealand in a virtual quarter-final today at Derby. Now, with England, Australia and South Africa already through to the last four, the winner of today's match will notch the last semi-final spot. Now, Indian Eves had started the campaign on a high, winning their first 4 matches, but a slump in form in the last 2 games saw them suffering crushing defeats at the hands of South Africa and Australia. And just like India, New Zealand too are facing a must-win situation and are currently lying at the 5th spot in the standings with 7 points from 8 games.
Over the head and 6.
And at the Wimbledon, Roger Federer will face Marin Cilic in the men's singles final on Sunday. Now, 18 times Grand Slam champion Federer, who is seeking a historic 8th Wimbledon title, defeated 11th seed Thomas Berdych in straight sets in the semi-final. The world number 3 was tested in the first 2 sets by his Czech opponent, but the Swiss once again prevailed without dropping a set as he won 7-6, 7-6, 6-4. Now, at 35 years of age, Federer is the second oldest man to reach a Grand Slam final after the 39-year-old Ken Rosewall, who reached the 1974 Wimbledon final. In the other semi-final, Croatia's 7th seed Marin Cilic overcame American Sam Querrey in a tough encounter to reach his first Wimbledon final. The pair's previous meeting at Wimbledon in 2012 had lasted over 5 hours, and once again it looked to go to the distance. However, after being set down, the former US Open champion Cilic came back to win 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 7-5.
6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 7-5.
And in today's play, American 10th seed Venus Williams and Spain's Garbine Muguruza will battle it out for the women's singles final. The 37-year-old Venus Williams could become the oldest woman to reach a Grand Slam singles title in the Open era, overtaking her sister Serena Williams' record, who won the Australian Open at 35 years of age. And finally, the movie Raag Desh, produced by Rajya Sabha Television, was in New Delhi to promote the movie. Now, National Award winner Tigmanshu Dhulia has directed the movie and has Kunal Kapoor, Mohit Marwa and Amit Saad in the lead roles. And the movie, based on the famous Red Fort trials, will be released on 28th of July. RSTV correspondent Anu Diwan spoke to the star cast. Let's take a listen.
I think they're ready to surrender. आईएनए की बागी फौजियों पर अंग्रेज देशद्रोह का मुकदमा चलाएंगे।
उन तीनों के बचने के चांसेस कम हैं।
ये कोई आम केस नहीं, कोर्ट मार्शल है।
भारत की आज़ादी के कुछ ऐसे पन्ने जिनके बारे में हमने बहुत कम सुना था, लेकिन अब वो जल्द ही एक पिक्चर के रूप में आपके सामने आएंगे। पूरी फिल्म राग देश की पूरी फिल्म की टीम हमारे साथ है। तिग्मांशु सर हैं, डायरेक्टर मोहित मारवा एंड कुणाल कपूर। सर, सबसे पहले आपसे एक सवाल, राग देश टाइटल, ये आपने नाम क्यों चुना?
ये फिल्म उस जन्म का संगीत है, तो हमने कहा राग देश। अब एक हमारे हिंदुस्तानी क्लासिकल में एक देश राग करके एक राग भी है, तो मुझे वो स्ट्राइक किया, मैंने ये स्ट्राइक किया, और मुझे दिमाग में बहुत चला था ग्रिफिथ की फिल्म बर्थ ऑफ अ नेशन। मैंने कहा बर्थ ऑफ अ नेशन, राग देश, देश राग, मैंने कहा राग देश, यही होगा टाइटल। मैं इतिहास का छात्र हूँ, स्टूडेंट हूँ, इतिहास से प्रेम करता हूँ, इतिहास को एक नज़रिए से देखना चाहता हूँ, तो मैंने थोड़ा ज़्यादा तरजीह दी है इसको।
हमारे साथ फिल्म के मेन लीड्स मोहित मारवा और कुणाल कपूर भी है। मोहित, सबसे पहले आप जो है कर्नल सहगल का रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं, आपके लिए उनको समझना कितना बड़ा चैलेंज?
चैलेंज तो था, क्योंकि वो मुझसे काफ़ी हटके थे, उनकी जो पर्सनैलिटी थी, और पर मैंने क्या किया कि मैंने चीज़ें ऐसी ढूंढी जो हमें कुछ सिमिलर चीज़ें मिल सके, वो सिमिलैरिटीज़ मैंने ढूंढी, उन्हें अपना बनाया।
कुणाल, आप रंग दे बसंती के बाद आपके लिए ये ऐसा एक मौका था जिसमें आप मेजर जनरल का रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं। ये रोल के बारे में थोड़ा सा बताइए, और ये कितना आपके लिए चैलेंज रहा है ये रोल?
ये रोल शाहनवाज़ खान ऑब्वियसली प्ले कर रहा हूँ मैं, और मुझे शाहनवाज़ खान बहुत ज़्यादा फैसिनेटिंग लगे। चैलेंजिंग ये था, जैसे सर कहते हैं, हम सबको मार्च पास करने में सिंक में मार्च पास करने में बहुत चैलेंजिंग लगा, लेकिन ऑन अ सीरियस नोट चैलेंजिंग ये था कि उस दौर के, एक तो जैसे मैंने कहा मानसिकता को समझना, दूसरा बॉडी लैंग्वेज बिल्कुल अलग थी उस ज़माने में। लोग चलते अलग तरीके से थे, बैठते अलग तरीके से थे, बोलते अलग तरीके से थे, तो उस सब को अपनी फिजिकलिटी में लेकर आना, अपनी आवाज़ में लेकर आना, वो चैलेंजिंग था हम सब के लिए।
तो ये थी हमारे साथ पूरी टीम। राग देश की फिल्म रिलीज़ हो रही है अगले हफ्ते 28 जुलाई को। कैमरा पर्सन अश्विनी के साथ अनु दीवान, राज्यसभा टीवी, नोएडा।
Don't forget to watch this movie as it releases on 28th of July. And with this, it is a wrap on this edition of news. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.